Hey there, Isolation Nation. Are you ready to fatten the curve? I mean, flatten the curve. Get ready. Let's wash our hands. Get out your cutting boards and your favorite soup pot. And let's get ready to stay home and cook. Aw, I didn't mean to do that in terms of a messy bowl.
I got a standing ovation, yay! Oh, you're so cute today.
Hey everyone, and welcome back to Stay Home and Cook, where we teach you simple recipes that you can make at home during this crazy time of COVID-19 and self-isolation, and some fun recipes that you can do in the kitchen when we're definitely home a whole lot more than usual. My name is Sharla Brown, and by no means am I a professional chef, but I do love to get in the kitchen and have fun and try some different recipes. Last time I had taught you how to make one of my favorite recipes, which was banana chocolate chip cookies. I already screwed up this recipe. But today is a different recipe, and I've only ever made it once before, and I found it by Googling it. I had some potatoes that needed to be used up, and I thought, geez, what can I do besides mashed potatoes and baked potatoes and all the things we think of we normally make with potatoes? And I thought, well, let me Google it and play. And I think a lot of us have that. You have some things in the kitchen and things in the fridge that you're not too sure what to do with. And it's a great way to be able to Google different recipes and the ingredients you have and come up with new things that you can make in the kitchen and have some fun with it. So I opened the fridge and I found in there that I had some bacon, I had some cheddar cheese, I had an onion. So I entered in all those ingredients and I came up with a potato soup recipe. And this is a great one. It is potato, bacon, cheddar cheese soup. And it's wonderful for those days that's still chilly outside. Some of us are still getting snow or have snow on the ground where we are. And we're still looking for comfort food and things that are easy to make, you can throw in the fridge and be able to warm them up and have as you need them. So that's what we're gonna make today. So we're gonna get started. And for this recipe, we need 5 slices of bacon. I'm gonna be honest, I use probably about 7 or 8 slices of bacon for this recipe. Yeah, I like bacon, and I found that it just added to the recipe a little bit, but if you wanted to make this vegetarian, you can omit the bacon and not have any bacon at all. You need 3 tablespoons of the reserved bacon grease once you have rendered down your bacon, or you can use butter, and if you want a healthier option, you can always use olive oil if you wanted to. 1 cup of diced white onion or yellow onion, 4 cloves of garlic, peeled and minced, 1/4 cup of all-purpose flour, 2 cups of chicken stock or vegetable stock, so if you're wanting to make it vegetarian, you could use vegetable stock instead, 2 cups of milk that has been warmed, 1.5 cups of Yukon Gold potatoes diced, 1 cup of sharp cheddar cheese, 1/2 cup of Greek yogurt or sour cream, 1 teaspoon of sea salt or more to taste, 1/2 teaspoon of freshly cracked black pepper, and then you can put some toppings on top. So if you want to save some of your bacon that you've fried up or your cheddar cheese or some sliced green onions, those are all toppings that you can make your soup look pretty afterwards. Okay, so we're going to start by cooking the bacon. And I'm just going to throw it all in a pan and let it render down until it's nice and crispy. I don't think there's anything better of a smell than bacon frying, and I think my dogs would agree with that too. Our bacon is pretty much done here. It's nice and crispy, so it's going to be perfect for in our soup. We've rendered it down, and we have our drippings. We need 3 tablespoons of the drippings to be able to saute our onions in. So I'm going to use a slotted spoon to take out all the bacon. Just going to turn this down for now. As I mentioned, I put a couple extra pieces of bacon, and that I want to put some in an extra little bowl to afterwards top the soup. So afterwards, when you put all your soup and it's finished in the bowl, we can garnish it with a little bit of cheddar cheese, throw a little bacon on top. It looks really pretty. And so I'll save some bacon for that. And the original slices will definitely go in there. So there's a little more probably than 3 tablespoons of grease that's in the bottom of this pan right now, and 3 tablespoons is what you need. If you don't want to use the bacon grease, you can definitely use butter, you can use olive oil, but I want that bacon flavor throughout the soup, and so that's why I'm going to continue to use the bacon grease. But I'm just going to use one more little bowl and pour off a little bit of the grease because it's a little bit too much than what I'm looking for. And I'm going to use the rest to saute my onions in. So it's a cup of onions that I've got here, and you're just going to throw them right in. Going to turn the heat back up. Saute the onions until they are nice and soft and they get kind of clear looking and they've softened. It'll take a few minutes, but you'll make sure that your onions are cooked through. Okay, so my onions are nice and cooked. They're getting clear, they're nice and soft, and now you're gonna add the garlic. Now here's when I talked about like maybe you don't have all the ingredients at home, and I didn't have a bulb of garlic, and I wasn't gonna run out to the store. I've already done my one grocery shopping trip this week, but I always keep garlic paste or sometimes minced garlic that you buy already prepackaged in a jar, and I always have that in the fridge. So I took out basically about a teaspoon or so of it in place of the 4 cloves of garlic. Now, garlic, like bacon, to me, there's no real rules as to how much you can have if you want it a little more garlicky. But we're gonna let that cook for about 2 minutes, along with the onion. Gonna turn it down a little bit. Smells very good. I smell the garlic cooking, I can smell the onions cooking. And then we're going to use a 1/4 cup of flour. Now the flour is to thicken your soup. And I'm gonna dust it in here, stir it around, and let the flour cook, because the last thing that you want is your soup to have a real floury taste. And so you want to make sure your flour is nice and cooked, and so that you're not going to get that taste when your soup is made. Yeah, so it should look something like this. Your flour's in there. We're still going to let it cook at the bottom of the pan just to cook the flour. Mix it all together and get it ready for our liquid ingredients. So that's all cooked and mixed and combined and ready to go, and we're ready for our liquid ingredients. I'm going to start with 2 cups of chicken stock. Now I use chicken stock, but if you want to use vegetable stock, you definitely can do that. This is already a pre-made chicken stock, but maybe you like making your own at home. If you have a leftover chicken or vegetables that you want to make your own stock at home, you can definitely do that. And so I'm going to mix that in and combine it. And just make sure that everything's mixed thoroughly. And it sounds like my dogs agree with everything. They're my only audience today. And so my apologies if you hear them in the background, but they're my company for today. And they're really good taste testers. They absolutely love the things that I'm cooking with today. They're big fans of bacon. And I'm sure the smell of the bacon in here is driving them crazy. So you can see that with the flour and the chicken stock that this is already thickening up really nicely. And so this is the time where we can add in our milk as well, which is gonna make it nice and creamy. Now I'm just using 2% milk. If you wanted to make this more decadent, you could use cream if you want to, but I find that 2% milk works just great for doing this recipe. So that is all mixed well together, and we have our chicken stock in there. We're gonna now add our 2 cups of warmed milk. I just warmed it in the microwave, and so it's kind of already up to not the temperature that it is, but it's got a little less further to go. Doesn't bring the temperature of your whole recipe down. So I'm gonna add in my milk and give it a good stir. So if you find that you're stirring it and you find that it needs a little extra mixing, you can always use your handy dandy whisk to mix it up a little bit further and break down any further of that. If there's any flour still there or little pieces, that you can all make sure that it's mixed up really well and that your soup's all coming together before you add in your potatoes. So I'm gonna make sure that this base and this stock is exactly how I want it to be, and then I'm gonna throw in my potatoes. So it calls for 1.5 pounds of potatoes. I wasn't exactly sure how many potatoes 1.5 pounds is. I don't own a kitchen scale, but I peeled up a bunch of potatoes because, like I said, they were in the, I had them in the cupboard and they were starting to see their better days, and I wanted to use them up. So I'm just gonna add them to it until I feel like there's enough potatoes for the liquid, but that they're still covered so that they can cook, they can come to simmer. And the important tip is that you cut the potatoes into small cubes. Potatoes take a while to cook. So if you cut big chunks, it's gonna take a really long time for your soup to cook. So if you cut them in little cubes, they're gonna cook a lot quicker, and it should take about 15 or 20 minutes. You're gonna turn this up a little bit until it begins to simmer and almost boil, and then you're gonna turn this down and you're gonna put a lid on it. You're gonna let it cook on the stove for about 15 or 20 minutes or until your potatoes are soft. and it's already smelling amazing in here. You can smell the bacon and everything's coming together, and I'm really looking forward to trying this for today's lunch. Okay, so I think our potato soup is ready, at least for the next step. And I've given it a stir and checked that the potatoes are soft. You might want to take out one or two and try them and just make sure that they're nice and soft, because it's not going to be near as good if those potatoes are crunchy. And I'll give you a little look here before we add in the other ingredients as to what it should kind of look like. And as you can see, it's nice and thick from the flour that we added in earlier, and it's ready for our final touches. So I'm going to add in about 1.5 cups of cheddar cheese. This is old cheddar. I like that kind of sharp taste, but if you want to use mild or medium or some other cheese, you can definitely do that. Cheese and potatoes are always a match made in heaven. So I'm going to stir that all in, let the cheese melt as it gets ooey and gooey and oh, so delicious. And once we've added that all in and it's combined, we're going to add in our 1/2 cup of sour cream, or you can use plain Greek yogurt. So whatever you've got in the fridge, you can definitely use it, but I have sour cream, so I'm going to put that in there. And give it another stir until it's well mixed. And as you can see, it is looking pretty amazing. Creamy, thick, smells delicious, and we haven't even added in the bacon yet, which is next. So we're gonna add in our cooked bacon from earlier and mix that in, along with some salt and pepper. And I put maybe a teaspoon or two of salt to start, and you can taste your soup afterwards and adjust accordingly if it needs a little more salt or pepper. I like more pepper in it, so I put a little extra fresh cracked pepper in there. Give it another amazing stir. As you can see, the bacon and everything mixed in there. And once you've mixed it really well, we'll give it a quick taste test and see if it needs anything else. And that's what I love about cooking. We talked about baking and how everything was an exact science and it's hard to play with measurements, but definitely with cooking, it's a little different. That if you wanted this spicy, you could add your favorite hot sauce to it. You could do different things to be able to create and make your own invention based on your taste buds. So for me, like I said, it was adding a little extra bacon to the recipe today. So I'm gonna give it a little taste test. It's gonna be really hot, so be careful not to burn yourself. Or maybe you have an official taste tester in your house that wants to try it out and give it the thumbs up. And oh my God, it's perfect. I wouldn't change a thing. So we're gonna dish this up and show you what it looks like plated and garnished, and just how I would serve it to my family. So I'm going to give a big scoop into my favorite bowl, and maybe you have a favorite bowl that you like using. This is a hearty soup. I'm good with 1 scoop, but for that hungry person in your family, maybe you want to put a second scoop that's in there. And then it's just to top it off. And like I said, I cooked some extra bacon, I shredded a little extra cheese to be able to top it off, but you can also use green onions or scallions, something like that, if you want to put some extra toppings on there. A little splash of hot sauce if you like, you can do that. So I'm going to throw a little extra cheddar cheese on there. And of course, some extra bacon. So I grabbed myself a spoon, and all that's left is to try it. But I want to leave you with a final quote that the great Julia Child said, that people who love to eat are always the best people. So hopefully you had your best people and your family around you to cook this delicious recipe, and that you get to sit down at the dinner table and enjoy the reap of your rewards of such a fantastic soup. So comforting and so good. We'll see you next time at Stay Home and Cook. Like, here it is, episode 2, with a lot more sass, and thanks to COVID-19, a little more ass.